So we're going to start on lab exam 4 material now. There are 3 labs on lab exam 4 material. Then we're going to finish with heart dissections, and that's the last dissections of the semester. And then as soon as all the dishes are done and sinks are dried off, then I will review for lab exam 3. That will be next week. Everybody there?
Yep.
All right, this is what it's going to be on lab exam 4. It's page 29, 30, 31, and 32. That's it, those 4 pages. Everybody there? Okay, we're actually a week ahead in lab, ahead of lecture. We haven't talked about the circulatory system yet in lecture. So this is your introduction to a lot of the concepts right here. Is everybody on page 29?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the wall chart that's on the chair. Has a heart, a little bit of a circulatory system. And then over here on the bottom left, we have an artery with the green arrow and a vein with the yellow arrow. So arteries are red and veins are blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
No, that's false.
Yeah.
The term artery and vein is an anatomical term by how it looks. It's not a physiological term by what kind of blood is it carrying. That's why it's either red or blue. It's what kind of blood is it carrying. If it's oxygenated, it's red. If it's deoxygenated, it's blue. And that's not how the terms artery and vein are organized. It's how it looks. Arteries are thick-walled. And that's because the blood pressure in arteries are great, and it's got to have a thick wall to withstand it. The blood pressure in veins is low, so it's very thin-walled. The blood pressure is much greater in the blood vessels that are taking blood away from the heart, because the ventricles create a lot of blood pressure. So if the blood is going away from the heart, it's thick-walled. If it's returning to the heart, there's no blood pressure in veins, it's thin-walled. It's about how it looks. Now the circulatory system is a double pump, okay? And on this wall chart, they divide the heart into those 2 halves. It's pumping to 2 circuits simultaneously, the blue half and the red half. Everybody got it? Mm-hmm. Everybody look at me. Unless it is said overtly, obviously, it is an anterior view of the heart. Unless I say this is a posterior view, you're looking at the person's chest. Anterior view. Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is important, because on lab exam 4 you have to say right or left when appropriate. If you are looking at you're looking at my chest right now.
Uh-huh.
This is the left side of the image, is it not?
Yes.
It's the left side of the image, but that's my right arm. When you're looking at a person's chest, the right side of the image is the left side of the body. The left side of the image is the right side of the body. Now this is relevant because anytime you're mounting images, whether it's a scan or an x-ray, radiograph, you mount it like you're looking at the person, which means the left side of the image is the patient's right side. Get used to that now when we're doing the heart, which means this is the left side of the image, this is the right side of the heart. This is the right side of the image, this is the left side of the heart. Has everybody got that?
Yes.
Take that, just get that in your heads so that it just comes naturally. Because these are the 2 circuits. The blue half is pumping blood to the lungs only. When it gets oxygenated, it returns to the left half. This is the pulmonary circuit. So it says on top of page 29, pulmonary circuit pumped by the right side of the heart. Systemic circuit goes from head to toe. Systemic means whole body. If you got a systemic infection, you're in trouble because that infection is from head to toe. Okay? And then it returns from the systemic circuit to the right side of the body. But the left half pumps to the systemic circuit. Now, turn to page 30. And that's all the blood vessels that you're going to need to know for lab exam 4. We are going to cover the top left, the upper arteries today, and I'll explain why later. But on the top of page 30, write all systemic vessels. These are all a part of the systemic circuit. And yes, in the systemic circuit, arteries are red and veins are blue, which is why you might have thought that is always the case. Because there's a lot more systemic vessels than there are pulmonary vessels. But look at this. All these systemic arteries are all red. All these systemic veins are all blue. So after it says all systemic vessels, write arteries are red, veins are blue. Then go back to page 29 near the top where it says pulmonary circuit. Near the top it says pulmonary circuit, right? The colors are switched. Look at this. The thick-walled pulmonary artery is blue. It gets oxygenated, loses all the blood pressure. So these are thin-walled pulmonary veins, and it's red. In the pulmonary circuit, the colors are switched. And that's why artery and vein is not about the color. That's about how thick the wall is. Because it can be either blue or red. Everybody got it? Because in the pulmonary circuit, the colors are switched. Can you see it on this picture? The pulmonary artery is blue. The pulmonary vein is red. But the pulmonary artery is thick-walled. That's why it's an artery. The pulmonary vein is thin-walled. That's why it's a vein. Are we clear? Now we covered the top of page 29. Can we move on?
Yeah.
I have to spend more time on this when I haven't been able to cover this in lecture. So everybody good with that? Okay, but everything on page 30 is systemic vessels, where yeah, arteries are red, veins are blue. Okay. Now let's go to the heart. First we're going to start with the three coats of the heart wall. You guys remember pleura, peritoneum, and pericardium?
Yes.
This is pericardium. And because there's parietal and visceral, there's actually two layers of pericardium. This thin leathery wall is the parietal pericardium. You have two choices for the full point. You can call it parietal pericardium, or you can call it pericardial sac. Either gets you the full point.
Okay.
Here on this picture, I've reflected off the parietal pericardium, that's the yellow arrow. And what is actually stuck on the heart wall is the visceral pericardium. That's the green arrow.
Oh, yeah.
You also have two choices for this green arrow. You can either call it visceral pericardium or you can call it epicardium. Either gets you the full point.
Epicardium.
Everybody see that on page 29? But the epicardium is one of three layers of the heart wall. This is just a close-up here, and you can actually see I got this pin between the myocardium and the epicardium. So right there where the green arrowhead is a little bit of that epicardium. Look how thin that is. You can see through it.
Wow.
Everybody see that? Really thin. In fact, there it is right there. Really thin, epicardium.
Wow.
Then lining the chambers of the heart on the inside is endocardium. It's this shiny layer right here. And it is as thin as the epicardium is. But the vast majority of the heart wall is cardiac muscle, what we call myocardium, and that's the red area.
Myocardium.
Everybody got it? So it's almost like 3 coats of the heart wall. Yeah, it's really basically myocardium with a paper-thin layer on one side and a paper-thin layer on the other side, sandwiching it. Everybody see that in this picture? The vast majority of it is myocardium. All right, then let's go here. Did everybody get your grade to date?
Yeah.
You sure you got that so I can erase that? Now we're going to the external structures. Everybody got it? I wonder how many students are going to get rid of their asterisks on lecture exam 3 this time. Okay. Four chambers of the heart, very simply. Right atrium, left atrium. The atria are on top. Right ventricle, left ventricle. Again, it's like you're looking at this person's chest. Everybody got it? Notice how it leans to the left. This is what you want to write next to this slide. The heart has a left inclination. It leans to the left.
I thought you just.
That's
did
one.
it.
1, the heart has a left inclination. 2, it is slightly rotated. And it's slightly rotated like this. Right side is anterior. Left side is posterior.
Okay.
Right side is more anterior. Left side is more posterior because it's rotated. So this is a straight anterior view, but we're looking mostly at the right side of the heart. We only see a sliver of the left side of the heart.
Okay.
Everybody got it? This is not rotated, this is a straight anterior view, and you see most of the right side because it's rotated. Any questions? Everybody write that down? Okay. Now yes, these are structures of the right and left atrium, but these are the flappy anterior portions of the atrium we call auricles, because don't they look like elephant ears?
Yeah.
And we're using the same word as we use for external ear, auricle. So that's the first thing, right and left auricle. If I pin these, it's going to say in parentheses, be specific. Because yeah, that's part of the right atrium. But if it says be specific, I need right auricle.
Okay.
Right atrium will get you half point. Right auricle is the full point. This is just the very edge of the left auricle. And you have to say right or left when it is appropriate. If you just say auricle, you get a half point. Okay? Any questions? Green arrow is a keyword region of the heart we call the apex.
Region.
The question card, if I'm asking for this, will say what is the region the 4A pin is on. And if it's pinned there, it's the apex of the heart. When the live heart is beating, this region moves a lot. Okay, let me just do this thing. On page 29, there's not just structures of the heart, there's also some blood vessels. So before we get to that, you might want to mark these guys down. Because there are 6 types of blood vessels that directly enter or leave the heart. And these are the 6. So make a mark on your page 29. Either use numbers or use letters, I don't care. But not all of them directly enter or leave the heart, but these 6 types of blood vessels do. And I say types because, say in the case of pulmonary veins, there's actually 4 of them. But I'm just counting as one type of vessel. So there's 6 types of vessels that directly enter or leave the heart, and these are the 6.
Oh, in the corner, okay.
Everybody got these 6 written down? Use your mouse. Everybody got these 6 written down?
Yes.
Anybody not have these 6 written down? All right, so this is the first one, superior vena cava. Directly enters the right atrium. The blue arrow down to the bottom, that's number 2, inferior vena cava. That also directly enters the right atrium. And on our hearts, it's almost as if these 2, superior and inferior vena cava, is a straight pipe, and the right atrium is stuck on it. It actually almost looks like a straight pipe between those 2 vena cavae. Number 3 is ascending aorta. That's the light blue arrow. I will give you a preview of coming attractions. There is no answer on lab exam 4 for which single word aorta will get you the full point. Like this, it's ascending aorta. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is this red arrow. That's the pulmonary trunk. The word trunk means the vessel is fused and is about to split. Well, if it's an artery. For example, turn to page 30. The one we'll cover later on this afternoon, the third one from the top, brachiocephalic trunk. It's fused, it's about to split. Go down below the dashed line. Second one underneath there is celiac artery or celiac trunk. It splits into 3, and the 3 are listed underneath it. The word common also means the same thing. Common or trunk means it's fused, it's about to split. Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
And the pulmonary trunk is going to split into left and right pulmonary arteries. So that's what we call pulmonary trunk. All right. These 2 are not one of the 6. They directly exit the ascending aorta, not the heart, and that's the right and left coronary arteries. One of the 6.
Where do they exit? You said?
Ascending aorta. Okay, everybody got these? Yes. Say that again?
For this one, we wouldn't look like we're looking straight at it, how you said like on the.
Yes, this is still anterior view, unless I say, obviously, this is a posterior view. So that's why this is the right, and this is the left. Which side of the heart is bigger, do you think? The right side of the heart or the left side of the heart? Left side. Come back to this just really quick. This is slide 11. And this is why. Left side is pumping from head to toe, right side is only going to the lungs. That's why the left side is bigger. Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
You'll definitely see it in the sheep hearts when we dissect. Okay. And the vein that is draining blood from the left ventricle is bigger, so we call it the great cardiac vein. And that's the light blue arrow. Great cardiac vein on the left side, because it's bigger. The great cardiac vein wraps itself around the left side of the heart to the posterior, but it goes around the left side of the heart. Are we clear?
Okay. What do
You guys
got?
don't want to do this, do you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's number 2? Right auricle. What's 18?
Pulmonary trunk.
Pulmonary trunk, number 11. Ascending aorta, 7.
Superior vena cava.
Superior vena cava, 26. Right coronary artery. How about number 30? Great cardiac vein. What's 31? Region of the heart. Apex of the heart. Okay.
Oh,
There's the apex of the heart there. This now is posterior view. Everybody see the letters?
Yeah.
Posterior view. In this circle is the region of the heart that when the heart is beating doesn't hardly move because it's anchored by all these great big vessels. That is the base of the heart. Read the question card. If I ask for the region, it is base of the heart. If I ask for the structure, because the heart is rotated, this is actually the left atrium.
okay.
What was the question to the left atrium?
The structure.
What is the name of the structure? So that purple arrowhead, say that's the pin. If I ask what is the name of the region, the answer is base of the heart. Same pin. What is the name of the structure?
Left atrium.
Left atrium. Everybody see the difference?
What's the structure of the apex then?
There is no.
Oh, okay. Because you said it's a region too, but there's no structure to
Right.
it there.
Did everybody get that? That's a point difference, isn't it? Okay. Okay, there's the superior vena cava. 1 of the 6. This is the inferior vena cava. 2 out of the 6. This little sliver just right here is the ascending aorta. It's got to be on this side because then it's aortic arch and then it's descending thoracic aorta. Over here is ascending aorta.
Okay.
In the shadow here, you can see the pulmonary trunk just before it splits.
Mm-hmm.
And it splits. Now, when posterior view, right is right, left is left. Right and left pulmonary arteries. In the pulmonary circuit, the colors are switched. Right and left pulmonary arteries, they are not 1 of the 6 because it doesn't come from the heart, it comes from the pulmonary trunk when it splits. In yellow is the 5th of the 6 left and right pulmonary veins. These veins are red. And they are 1 of the 6 because they directly enter the left atrium. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Still posterior view, but from a little bit inferior, looking up. Apex of the heart there again in green. Base of the heart there in the purple circle. But that structure is the left atrium. Same color arrows. Make sure you got these before I get to the next point, because it'll help you.
Hey.
All right. I lived in Los Angeles for 6 years, going to UCLA and doing my residency in West LA. was bitching because I didn't even have to change the way I commuted. And then I worked in the offices for another year. But when you read traffic reports in LA and the radio, they refer to the freeways as arteries. Isn't that convenient for us studying arteries now? Because some of these same concepts are really going to help you. For example, if you want to go to LA from here, you're going on 101 South, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you get past Thousand Oaks and Westlake, you come up on Calabasas, which is right outside the LA city limits. You come down into the valley on Valley Circle, Mulholland Drive. You hit basically the LA city limits on 101 South, except you're going dead east through the San Fernando Valley. You go past the San Diego Freeway. Well, now I call it the 405. When you're in LA, you call it by name. It's Ventura Highway, Ventura Freeway. You're gonna cross the San Diego Freeway. But if you wanna stay on the 101 South, all of a sudden, you gotta turn right.
Mm-hmm.
If you go straight toward Pasadena, you are on another freeway number and name.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanna go to 101 South, you gotta go to Hollywood, you gotta turn right. If you keep going straight, you're on a different freeway. Then you hit the Garden State Freeway, or Golden State Freeway, which is Interstate 5. Same thing. If you keep on going straight toward Pasadena, you are now on a third freeway. Different number, different name. Does that ring a bell to anybody here who's driven in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay. Take that lesson to here for this week and next week. When lanes split off or when lanes merge, chances are the freeway changes names.
Mm-hmm.
When lanes split off or when lanes merge, chances are the freeway changes names. Over here, I told you that wrapping itself around the left is the great cardiac vein. Light blue arrow. This thing, which has a name that you don't need to know, is going to merge. And when these lanes merge, the freeway changes names to the coronary sinus, which is the sixth and last of the 6 types of vessels that directly enter or leave the heart. This enters the right atrium right here. So there are 3 veins that enter the right atrium. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and the coronary sinus. Everybody got it? But the name coronary sinus starts here, when these lanes merge. I would never pin here. I would always put it in the middle.
Okay.
No, you guys want to do this.
That's a weird. What view is that? Oh, posterior.
Anybody?
Sure.
Region of the heart.
Base.
Structure.
A left atrium.
Left atrium. 21.
Left pulmonary artery.
Up.
Oh.
Left pulmonary vein. In pulmonary, the colors are switched. Superior vena cava. Let's say the lane came in right here. Coronary sinus. Great cardiac vein. It's where do the lanes come in?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's enough. Oh, how about this? 32.
That's that big one coming down. Ascending aorta? No.
That's the esophagus.
Oh my gosh. Looks like a noodle.
Okay, internal structures of the heart. Here's the 4 chambers. Just follow the drawing on the whiteboard. You can label this yourself.
Okay. LA. So this, I labeled
Okay, everybody got these 4 chambers?
pulmonary artery. It's a vein.
You should your mouths. Everybody got these 4 chambers?
Yes.
Anybody not got them? Okay. Now, between the atria and the ventricles are atrioventricular valves. Number 7, this gold arrow. You have 2 options. You can call it the right atrioventricular valve, or since it has 3 flaps, the tricuspid valve. Either gets you the full point.
Where's that on here? Over here, tricuspid valve, right side. Tricuspid, cuspid.
Number 8, with the purple arrow, you have 3 options. You can call it the left atrioventricular valve. Since it has 2 flaps, you can call it the bicuspid valve. Or I will even allow you to call it by its old English name, the mitral valve.
Mm.
The reason why I still will allow you to use the old name, because has anybody here heard of a condition called mitral valve prolapse?
Yes.
They're talking about a problem of this valve. Because the left ventricle is pumping to the whole body, head to toe, it's really strong. These are weak, thin flap valves. And so with this great pressure that the left ventricle generates, it oftentimes causes this mitral valve to go up into the atrium. That's prolapse. And sometimes it actually breaks the seal and blood goes backwards instead of forwards into the left atrium. That's mitral valve prolapse with valvular regurgitation, and then you are at great risk for bacterial endocarditis, and that's why you have to take antibiotics every time you go to the dentist. Also, if you do have valvular regurgitation, you will have what's called a heart murmur. All right. Then we got the semilunar valves, number 9, and the semilunar valves are named for where the blood is headed. This blood is headed to the pulmonary trunk, so number 9 is the pulmonary semilunar valve. Number 10, the blood is headed to the ascending aorta, so number 10 is the aortic semilunar valve. What I would write next to semilunar valves is that it is the border of the heart. There are no valves going into the heart, but there are valves going out, and these are both of them.
Okay.
For example, right here is the right ventricle. Right here is the pulmonary trunk. This semilunar valve is the border. Right here is left ventricle. Right here is ascending aorta. This is the border.
Okay.
Everybody understand what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
So remember I said the coronary arteries right and left are not one of the 6? And that's because they come off right above this semilunar valve.
Okay.
They come out of the ascending aorta.
Okay. So they're not part of it.
Is that too much information?
So you said it's the border of the heart, you said in between.
Right. In between the ventricles, right ventricle, pulmonary trunk, left ventricle, ascending aorta. That is the borderline. Okay, can we move on? Would it be better if I said more? All right, so this is the heart models that are on top of the cart now. These are the 4 chambers. Same anterior view, 4 chambers. And here are the AV valves, tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. And those are the borders between atria and ventricle. That's why they're called atrioventricular valves.
Can you look at that?
What's that?
What were the?
Bicuspid. Tricuspid. Each cusp of the tricuspid and bicuspid valve have these finger-like projections of cardiac muscle called papillary muscles. Oh wait, I should do this. That's the pulmonary semilunar valve, since that's the pulmonary trunk up here. Pulmonary semilunar valve. Because of the rotation of the heart, you can't see the aortic semilunar valve, it's behind it. Because of this.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
And we can call that the mitral valve?
This one.
Instead of the bicuspid, can we call it
Yes.
mitral?
3 options for the purple.
Okay.
Left atrioventricular valve, bicuspid valve, mitral valve.
Mitral valve.
Any of those get you the full point.
What was the top?
Because I'm this box.
Say what? Question?
Yeah.
That green one? On the
Green one
top?
right here? Pulmonary semilunar valve. Key here, there's the pulmonary trunk. Anybody else? Okay. Now here, that's the tricuspid valve again, bicuspid valve, but each cusp of these valves has a finger-like projection, and the word for finger-like projection is papilla, so we call these papillary muscles.
Where's that?
Since there's only 2 cusps over here, there's only 2 fingers. See that? But here we have 3, because that's a tricuspid valve. Everybody got it?
So papillary muscle is what we would say.
Yeah. Doesn't that look like a finger?
Yeah. The bottom one, that side more so.
This one? Yeah, this. Actually, like in the sheep parts, they look more like thumbs. I'll just warn you right now, when you do the dissections, the papillary muscle will look like this. Not like that. It'll look like that. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Coming off the tips, the fingertips of the papillary muscles are these strings we call chordae tendinea. And you have to look at the spelling here. It's on the same line as atrioventricular valves, attached to papillary muscles and chordae tendinea. So yes, I can ask it on lab exam 4 because it's on page 29.
I'm gonna spell that wrong.
And that's what connects the cusp to the papillary muscle.
And that's the red arrow?
Red arrow.
It's that white stuff. Stringy part.
Everybody got it?
And the yellow arrow was the papillary?
Papillary muscle.
Both yellow are the.
At the bottom, yeah. Those are all papillary muscles because there's 5 of them. 2 on the left, 3 on the right. 1 for each cusp.
Mitral valve and tricuspid valve.
The chordae, do we do it plural or singular?
I would probably do it singular. But take off both E's on both words. Some people, I don't know if there's anybody in here, misspelled tensor fasciae lata muscle. I was going to accept either plural or singular, but if you give me 1 word what was plural and 1 word that's singular, that's misspelled. I think it was one, I don't know if it was in this lab or the other lab. No, that's misspelled. Okay, in certain sections of the inside of the chamber of the heart, looks like little struts of meat. And the spongy bone, what do we call the little struts in spongy bone? Trabeculae. So what do you think we call struts of meat in the chambers of the heart?
Oh, trabecula cornea.
That's at the very bottom of the page.
Carnea?
Yep,
How do you pronounce that?
you can pronounce it right.
Cornea? Okay.
That's the blue arrows. See the struts of meat down there at the bottom? Blue arrows.
Carnea sada.
Trabeculae carneae. All right, everybody got this? Okay, I'm gonna finish page 29 before we break. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. So green arrow is the right atrium. This is an anterior view, but more from the right side. And so we see the tricuspid valve here, and the orange arrow without, we can't see the bicuspid valve. What do you think the blue arrow's on? Hint, look at the number. That's the coronary sinus. That's the opening of the coronary sinus into the right atrium. I said 3 veins enter the right atrium. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, coronary sinus. All right, how about this upper yellow arrow? If number 3 is the ascending aorta.
Is that?
Number 3 is the ascending aorta. What's the yellow arrow?
Aortic semilunar, well, no.
Oh, good try.
I don't know where my options are. Where are your options?
It's not one of the 6. It comes from number 3.
Pulmonary artery.
Which one? Look at the letters on top of the slide. Right coronary artery.
What?
Right coronary artery. Coronary arteries are not one of the 6 because they don't come from the heart. They come from the ascending aorta, number 3.
Okay.
And since this says right anterior view, this is the right coronary artery.
Okay. I'll take your word for that.
Okay, I'll just trust me. All right, this is anterior view, except now that from the left side, here we can see both semilunar valves. So pulmonary semilunar valve, aortic semilunar valve.
Pulmonary aortic.
Red is left pulmonary arteries. Yellow is left pulmonary veins. In the pulmonary circuit, the colors are switched.
Okay.
Light blue arrow is ascending aorta. Then what's that yellow arrow?
The left coronary artery.
Yes, it's the left coronary artery. Hey, look at this. It comes out just above the aortic semilunar valve. So that's coming from the ascending aorta.
Okay.
But it's just above the aortic semilunar valve.
Aortic semilunar valve. What's the like white things in it?
Those
Is
are the
it-
flaps of the aortic semilunar valve.
What's above? Is that some aortic valve?
What's above the aortic semilunar valve?
Pulmonary.
This one? This one? This one?
Yeah.
That's the pulmonary semilunar valve.
What's the light blue?
That's the ascending aorta.
What about the green?
Green, that's the aortic semilunar valve. I'll be partying tonight.
Left.
All right, so, do you guys, is this boring? Do you
No.
want me to like spice it up with a little bit of clinical relevance?
Sure.
Endothelial cells have LDL receptors that can actually suck LDLs out of your blood and into the wall. They can happen anywhere, but they end up happening more where the blood pressure is the highest and the blood flow is the most turbulent. Okay?
Okay.
Every time the arteries branch, the cumulative diameter of that section of artery is increasing. By the time you get to capillaries, it's huge. But where you're at the ascending aorta, you have the highest blood pressure in your body. When you take blood pressure on your brachial artery, rest assured at the ascending aorta, it's a few notches above that because there's been some branches before the brachial artery. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Now look at this, the way this coronary artery is located, just above where the blood flow is violently turbulent. That aortic semilunar valve is doing this, poof, 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 on every beat. And the blood flow is doing this, poof, 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 poof. And instead of going in nice little smooth off ramps like this, that's easy. Oh, gentle. Oh, nice and flowing. This is coming off at a 90-degree angle. It's like El Campo Road over there in just south of Arroyo Grande. They finally extended the off-ramp on that thing, but before, you had to go from 65 miles an hour to 15 in this much space.
Oh Okay.
That was turbulent traffic flow. That's the coronary arteries, which is why coronary arteries tend to have more atherosclerotic plaques than other arteries. The blood pressure is the highest and the blood flow is the most turbulent there.
Okay.
Okay? Well,
No, I.
did I spice it up?
Yes.
So spicy. So hot.
All right. Do I want to go over these?
Yes.
Tricuspid, bicuspid. Tricuspid, bicuspid. Papillary muscles, cornea tendinea, coming off the tips. Blue is struts and meat. Yeah, call it trabecular cornea, don't call it struts and meat. Everybody got these, or shall I repeat that a couple more times?
Can you repeat it?
One more time.
Tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, papillary muscles, cornea tendinea, trabecular cornea, in blue. Oh, hell no. Okay, these are the auricles, right and left. This, oh, you should write anterior view on this. Well, you don't have to, because if I don't say it, it is. So there's the two coronary arteries and the great cardiac vein.
Okay.
Everybody got these? Dark blue is auricles, yellow is the coronaries, right and left. Light blue is great cardiac vein. By the way, I like to use this heart on loud exam 4. It's on top of the card. Came out of that guy.
Is it that really big one?
I like using this heart because it's rubber and it's really easy to stick pins in.
What's the
Next to this slide, write posterior view. It should have letters saying posterior view.
Is this the same heart?
Yep. Same heart, posterior view, great cardiac vein wrapping itself the left side of the heart.
Great cardiac.
When this lane comes in, it's called coronary sinus. It's coronary sinus all the way to the right atrium. From here to here. Enter to right atrium.
Okay.
When we do the heart dissections at the end, this is what we're shooting for. A coronal section so that in one cut we can see all 4 chambers. That's our goal.
Okay.
Okay? And what I want to show you here is, here's the really thin-walled atria up here, thick-walled ventricles, but look how much thicker the left ventricle is from the right ventricle. Ventricles are thicker, but the left is way bigger than the right, because the left's going from head to toe, right's only going to the lungs.
Is this the one right here?
Papillary muscle, see, it kind of looks like a thumb, huh? This is tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, papillary muscles, and coming up the tips are chordae tendinea. Yeah, these will help you with identifying some things in your heart dissection, as long as you guys cut it in the right plane.
Can you repeat it, please?
Tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, papillary muscles look like thumbs,
Okay.
chordae tendinea.
Okay. Cornea tendinea.
What's the pin on? What's the pin on? Aortic? Semilunar valve. It's the aortic semilunar valve. This is ascending aorta. Struts and meat. And at the bottom, blue. Trabecular cornea. Same color arrows. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break. We're done with page 29. We're going to do the top left of page 30, and we're starting when that clock says 2:30. So we'll be back when that clock says 2:30.